Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's be real. We are all swimming, maybe even drowning, in a sea of information. But how do you tell the good stuff from the junk? Today, we're diving into the amazing creation story of an AI weapon built to do exactly that, to cut through the noise and dismantle bad information.
You know, every great project starts with a really clear mission, and for the creators of this tool, you gotta love how direct this is. Their goal? To stop wasting time on what they bluntly called ad hoc bullshit, and to finally build a system that could find the real signal in all that noise.
So the first step wasn't about building some flashy new tool. Now, it was much smarter than that. It was about building a system for building tools. They knew that if you want to get quality results out of an AI, you first need a rock-solid process for telling it what to do. And that thinking led them here, to the Directive Development Protocol, or DDP. The easiest way to think about this is like a master blueprint. It's not the final product, it's the recipe for the final product. It's a structured way to make sure every single command you give an AI is clear, logical, and really effective. This is the foundation that everything else was built on.
And the process itself? It was just beautifully simple. You start by just capturing a raw idea, the spark. Then, use the AI itself as a kind of sparring partner to refine the wording and sharpen the logic. And the final step? You get a polished, what they call combat-ready directive. This whole disciplined approach was the secret sauce to getting quality output right from the start.
But look, this simple protocol, that was just the beginning. It very quickly morphed into something way more ambitious. It wasn't just about making tools anymore. It was about forging what they called an epistemic weapon, an AI peer reviewer with just ruthless intellectual integrity.
This really shows you the leap they took. On one side, you have the humble DDP, a blueprint for making good prompts. And on the other, it's evolution. Codex Veritas, a full-on, combat-grade AI. The mission completely flipped, from creation to deconstruction. Its whole purpose was to critically analyze and just dismantle flawed documents.
So how in the world do you build an epistemic weapon? Well, you give it an arsenal. In this case, a set of selectable personas. The user could literally deploy a devil's advocate to tear apart the main argument, or an auditor to check every detail for logical precision. There was even a futurist to look at the long-term consequences. Each persona was like a different weapon for a different kind of fight. And the arsenal went even deeper than that. This is where it gets really cool. Beyond just personas, Codex Veritas had this whole suite of specialized modules. You could unleash a methodology sniper to audit the data, a claim source validator to trace every single fact, or, my personal favorite, a citation ghost hunter to find missing sources. It was basically a full demolition crew for bad arguments.
Okay. So you forged this incredibly powerful weapon. Now what? It's time for a test. And you don't test a weapon like this on some easy target. No, you need a worthy opponent, something specifically designed to fool it. It was time for a trial by sophistry.
This was the million-dollar question, right? A tool like this is only as good as its ability to see through deception. Could it actually be tricked by something that looked smart, sounded smart, but was fundamentally just nonsense?
And here was the bait. The team created this completely fake, deliberately flawed paper. It was an absolute masterpiece of what you might call smart bullshit. It uses all this fancy, sophisticated language and a plausible-sounding title to hide a totally nonsensical argument at its core. Let's look at one of the traps they laid for the AI. This is a chart from that fake paper. Now, at a quick glance, it looks pretty convincing, right? Strong upward trend. But, wait a minute, look closer. The axes are completely meaningless. It's pure visual trickery, designed to look authoritative without actually saying anything at all. And here's how the AI's data visualization auditor responded. It didn't just flag it as a mistake, it delivered this absolutely devastating takedown, calling the chart fundamentally misleading and saying it distorts information instead of representing it. A direct hit. The AI saw right through the trick. The final verdict from the AI came in the form of this structural heat map, and as you can see, it was just a sea of red. It's a systematic takedown, finding critical epistemic failures in every single section of the paper, from its logic to its sourcing to its framing. The trial was a massive success. The weapon worked. So, after proving its incredible power to deconstruct bad arguments, the mission of Codex Veritas started to change. It began to evolve from this highly specialized weapon for experts into something else, a protective shield for everyone.
The creators had this huge realization. The true value wasn't just the complex AI itself, it was the thinking behind it. Those core principles that made the AI so good at spotting flaws, they could be pulled out and taught to people as a simple mental model for thinking critically.
And that incredible insight is what led to the creation of something really practical that any of us can use. This is how the Veritas lens was born.
The lens is built around this core idea of identifying 7 key mistakes. And what's interesting is these aren't mistakes found in malicious or deceptive papers. No, these are common pitfalls in well-intentioned but flawed research. The creators call them earnest errors.
This checklist right here, this is the heart of the Veritas lens. It gives you, me, all of us, a set of red flags to look for. Things like forgetting a control group, or drawing these huge conclusions from a tiny little study, or just getting trapped in an echo chamber. These are the common, earnest mistakes we need to watch out for.
Let's just zoom in on one of these, because it's so common and so sneaky. The perception trap. This is what happens when a study confuses how people feel with what is factually happening. It's when you rely on subjective stuff like happiness or satisfaction instead of hard, objective results.
And just look at how common it is. This chart shows that in all the flawed research the team looked at, the perception trap was the single biggest error, making up over a third of all the issues. That's a huge blind spot, and it's exactly what the Veritas lens is designed to help you see.
Ultimately, the goal of the Veritas lens is summed up perfectly by this quote. It's about empowering all of us, researchers, readers, everyone, to make sure that the evidence we use is every bit as strong as our good intentions.
And that really is the final thought for today's explainer. This isn't just about spotting flaws in some academic paper. It's about arming yourself with a whole new way of seeing the world. So the real question is, now that you have the Veritas lens, what will you see differently in the news, in reports, in everything you consume every day?